Welcome to our channel. Today, we're diving into how to have a fulfilling, intimate life, science and secrets for lasting connection, a powerful book that explores the real psychology behind love, trust, and lasting desire. If you're someone who wants deeper connection, better communication, and more passion in your relationship, you're in the right place. Before we begin, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our next videos on love, self-growth, and relationships. All right, let's get started and discover the art of true intimacy together. Chapter 1. The Science of Intimacy: What Makes Desire Last. Intimacy is one of the most complex and fascinating parts of human life, blending biology, emotion, and psychology into one of the deepest experiences two people can share. From a scientific perspective, intimacy begins long before physical closeness. It starts in the brain. When two people connect, their bodies release a cocktail of hormones like oxytocin, dopamine, and serotonin, which create feelings of trust, excitement, and pleasure. Oxytocin, sometimes called the love hormone, strengthens emotional bonds and makes physical touch feel comforting and meaningful. Dopamine drives passion and desire, rewarding the brain for experiences that bring closeness, while serotonin maintains emotional stability and contentment. These biological mechanisms explain why intimacy feels both thrilling and safe when it's built on trust. Yet modern psychology reminds us that true intimacy is not only chemical, it's deeply relational. It's about vulnerability, communication, and emotional presence. Studies from relationship experts like John Gottman and Esther Perel show that couples who stay intimately connected for years are not necessarily those who have the most passion, but those who continuously build emotional understanding, respect, and curiosity towards each other. Perel's research especially reveals that desire is sustained not by constant closeness, but by the dance between togetherness and independence, the mysterious balance of familiarity and novelty. We crave safety in love, but desire often feeds on a bit of distance, imagination, and individuality. A healthy, intimate life begins with emotional security. When you feel emotionally safe with your partner, your body relaxes, your heart rate slows, and you can open up without fear of judgment. This openness allows affection, playfulness, and attraction to grow naturally. However, when relationships fall into emotional disconnection, resentment, criticism, or indifference, intimacy often disappears. Many couples mistake physical attraction for real connection, but neuroscience shows that emotional intimacy actually amplifies physical pleasure. When two people trust each other deeply, their bodies are more responsive, their senses sharper, and their ability to feel pleasure increases. This means that communication, verbal and nonverbal, is the foundation of passion. Expressing your needs, your fantasies, your fears, and your gratitude keeps the emotional current alive. Intimacy also requires self-knowledge. People often expect their partners to fulfill needs they themselves don't understand. Learning to be comfortable with your own body, emotions, and desires makes you a more confident and generous partner. Confidence and self-acceptance radiate attractiveness. Insecurity and shame block it. A strong sense of self turns intimacy into a sharing of abundance, not a search for validation. Sociology adds another layer. The quality of our intimate lives reflects the culture we live in. In fast-paced societies dominated by technology, many relationships suffer from distraction and emotional fatigue. People communicate more through screens than through touch or eye contact. Yet research continues to show that small physical gestures, a hug, a kiss on the forehead, a lingering look, release oxytocin and build the same neurological foundation that keeps relationships resilient. Intimacy is also an art of attention. It means noticing the small things, your partner's tone, energy, or subtle shifts in mood, and responding with empathy. The most passionate relationships are not those with constant fireworks, but those where both people feel seen, heard, and valued. As the psychologist Abraham Maslow suggested, love evolves in stages. It begins with basic needs for affection and validation, then recurs into self-actualizing love, where both partners grow, support, and inspire each other. This level of connection transforms intimacy into something deeper than pleasure. It becomes purpose. Finally, the secret to lasting desire is curiosity. In long-term relationships, people often assume they already know their partner fully, but that's an illusion. Human beings are constantly changing, and rediscovering your partner again and again keeps intimacy alive. Ask new questions, share dreams, surprise each other, create new memories. Desire dies not from routine itself, but from emotional laziness. The spark of intimacy comes from a sense of wonder, the same curiosity that drew you together in the first place. When love and desire intertwine with respect, playfulness, and emotional honesty, intimacy becomes not just a momentary act, but a lifelong experience. Chapter 2. The Psychology of Attraction. Why we desire who we desire. Attraction is both a mystery and a science, a dance between biology, psychology, and experience that determines who catches our attention and who stays in our hearts. From an evolutionary standpoint, humans are wired to seek partners who signal both health and compatibility, traits that historically increase the chances of survival and reproduction. But attraction is far more than appearance. It's an invisible connection of energy, emotion, and meaning. Research in psychology shows that what we find attractive is often shaped by familiarity, emotional resonance, and timing. Sometimes attraction begins with something as small as the sound of a person's voice or the way they laugh, subtle cues that signal comfort and chemistry. According to Helen Fisher, one of the world's leading researchers on love, there are 4 broad brain systems that influence attraction: dopamine-driven explorers, serotonin-guided builders, testosterone-fueled directors, and estrogen-focused negotiators. People often feel drawn to those who balance or complement their own chemistry, creating a dynamic equilibrium that keeps the relationship both stable and exciting. However, attraction isn't purely instinctive, it's psychological conditioning too. From childhood, people form love templates based on how they experienced care, affection, and attention from parents or caregivers. These templates influence the kind of love they later seek, sometimes even drawing them to familiar emotional patterns, whether healthy or not. For example, someone raised in a home where affection was inconsistent may unconsciously find excitement in unpredictability, mistaking anxiety for passion. This explains why some relationships feel like emotional roller coasters. They awaken early attachment patterns that make love feel both thrilling and terrifying. Understanding these internal dynamics is essential for developing healthy attraction, because once you become aware of your patterns, you can choose partners who nurture growth rather than pain. Attraction also thrives on mystery and challenge. When everything is predictable, the spark fades. When everything is uncertain, anxiety rises. The key is balance, a sense of intrigue without fear, comfort without boredom. Studies show that novelty activates the same dopamine pathways as early romance, which is why couples who try new experiences together tend to report higher satisfaction and desire. This doesn't mean playing games or pretending to be someone else. It means remaining unpredictable in an authentic way, continuing to evolve, surprise, and inspire curiosity in your partner. The best kind of attraction is sustained by authenticity because true confidence is magnetic. When you are comfortable with who you are, you send signals of psychological safety and self-assurance, 2 of the most powerful aphrodisiacs in existence. Another often overlooked element is emotional intelligence. People are attracted to those who make them feel understood, validated, and emotionally safe. When someone listens without judgment, mirrors your emotions, and responds with empathy, your brain associates that person with comfort and connection. This emotional chemistry often becomes more powerful than physical looks over time. A face may attract, but a soul keeps us close. Emotional depth, humor, kindness, and curiosity create a type of beauty that doesn't fade. The most fulfilling attraction grows when both people are genuinely curious about each other's inner world, their dreams, fears, and vulnerabilities. Social psychology also points out the importance of timing and context. Two people may be perfectly compatible but meet at the wrong moment, when one is healing, distracted, or emotionally unavailable. Attraction is like a spark that needs the right environment to ignite, otherwise, it flickers and dies. This is why emotional readiness matters as much as chemistry. You must be open to connection, available to give and receive affection, and secure enough to embrace vulnerability. True attraction happens when both people are ready to meet each other's hearts, not just each other's bodies. Finally, attraction deepens when it's nurtured. It's easy to mistake the rush of newness for love, but sustaining attraction requires attention. Compliments, eye contact, physical touch, and shared laughter continually remind the brain that connection is alive. Long-term studies by relationship experts show that couples who maintain passion tend to flirt, tease, and express affection regularly, even after years together. They keep romance playful and alive, refusing to let routine dull their excitement. Attraction isn't something you find once and then possess. It's something you create again and again through curiosity, effort, and appreciation. At its core, attraction is both a reflection and a projection. We're drawn to what feels familiar and what we secretly wish to become. It mirrors our inner world while inviting us to grow. To understand attraction is to understand yourself, to see what energies you radiate, what fears you hide, and what love you're truly open to receiving. When you align your emotional health with your desires, attraction stops being a random spark and becomes a meaningful connection, guided by awareness and choice rather than chance. Chapter 3, Building Emotional Intimacy, the Foundation of Lasting Desire. Emotional intimacy is the quiet heartbeat of every lasting relationship. It is the invisible bond that turns affection into love, attraction into connection, and desire into devotion. Without emotional intimacy, physical closeness feels empty, mechanical, or fleeting. With it, even the simplest gestures, a shared glance, a soft touch, a few words whispered at night, become powerful expressions of love. Psychologists describe emotional intimacy as a sense of being known, the feeling that someone truly sees you without judgment and accepts both your strengths and your flaws. This form of closeness can't be rushed or forced. It grows slowly through trust, honesty, and consistent communication. At its core, emotional intimacy begins with vulnerability. To be vulnerable means to let someone into your emotional world, to reveal your fears, dreams, insecurities, and truths without fear of rejection. Many people struggle with this because modern culture teaches self-protection over openness. We're told to be strong, to never need anyone. But true strength and love is the courage to be seen. According to the renowned researcher Brené Brown, vulnerability is not weakness. It's the birthplace of love, belonging, and joy. When two people open up to each other without masks or pretenses, their connection deepens in ways that physical attraction alone could never reach. Building emotional intimacy requires emotional literacy, the ability to identify, express, and regulate your feelings. You can't connect deeply if you don't understand what you feel, or if you're afraid to express it. For men, this often means learning to share emotions that society has labeled weak, such as sadness, fear, or tenderness. For women, it can mean expressing needs directly, rather than expecting them to be guessed or intuitively met. Emotional honesty is not about dramatic confession. It's about everyday authenticity. Saying, I feel disconnected lately, or I miss how we used to laugh together, opens the door to healing and reconnection. Listening is the twin of vulnerability. Many people hear without truly listening, waiting for their turn to speak or defend. Deep listening means focusing entirely on your partner's experience, not on your response. It's about creating a safe emotional space where they can feel accepted and understood. When someone feels heard, their nervous system relaxes. They stop guarding themselves, and closeness becomes possible again. Couples who practice empathetic listening build what Gottman calls a love map, an intimate understanding of each other's inner world, from daily stresses to long-term dreams. Emotional intimacy also thrives in consistency. Trust is not built by grand gestures, but by small daily actions. Keeping promises, showing up, remembering details, and treating your partner's emotions as valuable. When your partner knows they can rely on you emotionally, they relax into the relationship. This safety creates space for playfulness, affection, and physical passion. Neuroscience shows that emotional safety activates the parasympathetic nervous system, reducing anxiety and increasing the release of oxytocin, the same hormone that deepens attachment and pleasure. This is why couples who feel emotionally secure often experience more satisfying physical intimacy. Their bodies and hearts are aligned. One of the challenges in long-term relationships is maintaining emotional connection amid daily stress. Work, technology, and routine can numb communication. Over time, partners may stop checking in emotionally, assuming they already know each other. But emotional intimacy is like a flame. It must be fed. Setting aside time to talk without distractions, asking questions like, "What made you smile today?" or "What's been heavy on your heart?" keeps the emotional current alive. Small rituals of connection, morning kisses, evening reflections, shared laughter, act like emotional vitamins that protect the relationship from distance. Forgiveness is another pillar of emotional intimacy. No relationship survives without it. Misunderstandings and disappointments are inevitable, but holding grudges create emotional walls. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting or excusing behavior. It means choosing love over resentment, allowing the relationship to heal rather than harden. People often underestimate how sensual forgiveness can feel. When tension is released and tenderness returns, the emotional relief reignites affection. Finally, emotional intimacy flourishes in environments of appreciation. Compliments, gratitude, and words of affirmation are simple but powerful forms of emotional nourishment. When you tell your partner, "I appreciate you," or "You make my life better," it strengthens their sense of being valued and desired. Appreciation transforms ordinary moments into emotional connection. Passion fades when people feel invisible. It thrives when they feel seen. In the end, emotional intimacy is not a skill, but a practice, a daily choice to connect, listen, and love with intention. It's the foundation on which all healthy desire is built. When two hearts trust each other, bodies follow naturally. When souls are connected, attraction becomes a living, breathing force that renews itself over time. The greatest intimacy, after all, is not found in grand displays of affection, but in the quiet knowing that someone truly understands you and still chooses you every single day. Chapter 4. The Role of Communication. Speaking the Language of Love and Desire. Communication is the invisible bridge that connects two hearts. It's how desire is expressed, how misunderstandings are healed, and how love evolves from infatuation into intimacy. Without healthy communication, passion fades into frustration and connection turns into distance. Yet when partners learn to speak openly, clearly, and compassionately, communication itself becomes an act of love, a form of emotional and even sensual connection that keeps both people feeling seen, valued, and understood. From a psychological perspective, communication is not just about exchanging words, it's about transmitting energy, emotion, and intent. The tone of your voice, your body language, your timing, and even your silence can speak louder than your words. Great communicators in love understand one essential truth. People speak different love languages. Dr. Gary Chapman's famous theory identifies 5: words of affirmation, quality time, acts of service, physical touch, and receiving gifts. Each person naturally gives and receives love in one or two of these languages. For example, some people feel loved when they hear words like, "I'm proud of you," while others feel it when their partner spends undistracted time with them. Problems arise when partners express love in different ways, like when someone offers gifts while the other craves deep conversation. Understanding your partner's love language is one of the most effective ways to build connection. It's not about changing who you are, but learning to express affection in a way your partner can truly feel. However, communication in intimacy goes beyond words or gestures. It's about emotional attunement. This means sensing not only what your partner says, but what they feel beneath their words. It's paying attention to tone, facial expression, and energy. A partner may say, "I'm fine," but their body may tell a different story. Emotional attunement allows you to respond to unspoken needs, creating a deeper layer of trust. Neuroscientists have found that when people feel emotionally attuned, their brain waves literally synchronize, a process known as neural resonance. This is what creates the sensation of being deeply connected, even without words. Conflicts are inevitable, but how you communicate during them determines whether they bring you closer or tear you apart. The healthiest couples are not those who avoid arguments, but those who argue with respect and empathy. Gottman's research shows that for every negative interaction during conflict, stable couples have 5 positive ones. That ratio keeps emotional safety intact. Avoid criticism, contempt, defensiveness, and stonewalling, the 4 behaviors proven to predict relationship failure. Instead, use I statements like, "I feel hurt when," instead of "you always." This shifts the conversation from accusation to understanding. Remember that during heated moments, your nervous system goes into fight or flight mode, making it hard to listen or think clearly. Taking short breaks, breathing, or even gentle touch can help regulate emotions and keep the dialogue loving rather than destructive. In intimate communication, curiosity is just as important as clarity. Many people assume they already know their partner completely, which kills discovery. Real communication means asking, exploring, and relearning each other continuously. Ask questions like, "What makes you feel closest to me?" or "What do you need from me when you're stressed?" These questions open emotional doors and remind both partners that connection is a living process, not a finished product. Another key to strong communication is vulnerability in expression. Many people fear that expressing their emotional or physical desires will lead to rejection, but silence slowly erodes connection. Speaking honestly about what you like, what you need, or what makes you feel desired builds mutual confidence. When both people express openly, they begin to co-create intimacy rather than guessing or pretending. The best conversations about affection and desire are not clinical, but playful, open, and kind. They allow both partners to explore each other emotionally and physically in a space of safety, curiosity, and mutual respect. Technology adds both opportunities and challenges to modern communication. Texting and social media make it easy to stay connected, but digital conversations often lack emotional tone. A message sent with affection might be misread as cold. A delayed response might create insecurity. Whenever possible, bring important conversations into real life. Eye contact, tone, and touch convey warmth that words on a screen never can. Use digital tools to express appreciation or flirtation, but rely on human presence for deeper connection. Finally, communication is not only verbal, it's also the art of silence. In long relationships, comfortable silence is a form of intimacy. Sitting together quietly, sharing a moment without pressure to speak, communicates peace and trust. Emotional and physical closeness both depend on the ability to listen to each other's presence, not just words. At its highest form, communication becomes a love ritual, a rhythm of giving and receiving understanding. It's in the way you say, "Good morning," the way you listen after a long day, the way you say, "I'm sorry," and you mean it. When communication is intentional and heartfelt, it becomes foreplay for the soul, a way of keeping love alive, honest, and warm. Desire may begin with attraction, but it endures through communication. The words you speak or don't can build or break the bridge of intimacy. To communicate with empathy, awareness, and care is to make your partner feel loved not just in moments of passion, but in the everyday poetry of life together. Chapter 5: Physical Connection, the Language of Touch and Affection. Touch is the most primal and powerful form of human communication. Long before we learned to speak, we expressed love, comfort, and safety through physical closeness. A simple touch has the ability to calm the heart, reduce stress, and create an unspoken bond that words can't capture. In intimate relationships, physical connection is not just a source of pleasure, it is a form of emotional dialogue. It tells your partner, I see you, I care for you, I choose you. Research shows that affectionate touch releases oxytocin, often called the bonding hormone, which strengthens trust and emotional attachment. Even brief contact, a hug, a hand on the shoulder, a kiss on the cheek, can trigger a wave of warmth and belonging. The beauty of touch lies in its range. It can be soft and nurturing, playful and teasing, or passionate and grounding. Every type of touch carries an emotional message. Gentle, consistent affection during daily life, like holding hands, brushing against each other while cooking, or cuddling during a movie, creates a foundation of comfort that sustains desire. Many couples underestimate the power of non sexual touch, but it's this steady physical connection that keeps the nervous system calm and the emotional connection alive. When physical contact is reserved only for moments of passion, it often loses depth. But when it's woven naturally into daily life, it becomes a language of love itself. Psychologists note that physical intimacy reflects emotional health. When couples are emotionally distant, physical closeness often fades. When they reconnect emotionally, affection usually returns. This is because the body mirrors the heart. If resentment, stress, or fear have built up, touch can feel tense or mechanical. Healing begins when partners rebuild trust through small intentional gestures. A warm hug, a reassuring stroke on the arm, or lying close in silence can reopen emotional doors that words alone cannot. Physical affection, when given with presence and care, says, "You are safe with me." Cultural and personal backgrounds also shape how we experience touch. Some people grew up in affectionate families where hugs were natural, while others were raised in environments where physical contact was rare. Understanding each other's comfort levels and preferences is key to creating harmony. What feels affectionate to one person might feel overwhelming to another. Communication about touch, asking what feels good, what doesn't, and what makes each person feel loved, is essential. This dialogue prevents misunderstandings and deepens trust. In the context of romantic intimacy, physical connection becomes an expression of emotional energy. It's not just about pleasure, it's about presence. The most meaningful touch happens when both partners are mentally and emotionally present, not distracted or self conscious. This is why mindfulness plays such a powerful role in physical intimacy. When you touch with awareness, feeling your partner's heartbeat, breathing in sync, paying attention to small sensations, you turn an ordinary moment into something sacred. Presence transforms touch from habit into connection. Another crucial element is playfulness. Physical intimacy doesn't have to be serious or overly planned. Shared laughter, gentle teasing, or spontaneous affection bring joy and freshness to the relationship. Playfulness reduces pressure and keeps love lighthearted. It reminds both partners that intimacy is not an obligation, but a privilege, a dance of giving and receiving. The couples who stay affectionate the longest are often those who never stop flirting, who maintain the curiosity and fun of their early days. Physical connection also benefits health in measurable ways. Studies show that regular affectionate touch lowers blood pressure, boosts the immune system, and improves sleep quality. It literally heals the body. But perhaps the greatest gift of touch is its ability to dissolve loneliness. In a world where people spend more time on screens than in each other's arms, physical closeness has become a rare medicine. Touch tells us we belong. It anchors us in the moment and in each other. It's important to remember that physical intimacy doesn't always mean intensity. Sometimes it's about stillness, the quiet of lying together, feeling another heartbeat beside you. These moments, though small, create profound emotional security. When you allow yourself to be held, you surrender control in the most trusting way possible. That trust is the essence of intimacy. In the end, touch is love made tangible. It's how we say, I'm here without words, how we turn affection into reality. A relationship rich in physical connection radiates warmth and strength. It can weather storms because its foundation is built not only on understanding, but on presence. To touch with love is to speak the oldest, purest language of human connection, a language that transcends time, culture, and words, reminding us that real intimacy begins and ends in the heart, expressed through the hands. Trust and safety are the hidden pillars of lasting intimacy. Trust is the invisible thread that holds love together. It is quiet, often unnoticed, until the moment it breaks. Then everything else begins to unravel. In every form of intimacy, whether emotional, physical, or psychological, trust creates the sense of safety that allows vulnerability to bloom. Without trust, desire becomes anxiety. Affection feels guarded. With it, love flows naturally, allowing two people to surrender to closeness without fear of betrayal or rejection. In modern psychology, trust is considered the foundation of attachment, the emotional security that gives lovers, friends, and partners the courage to open their hearts fully. It's not built through words alone, but through consistency, reliability, and emotional transparency over time. Safety in this context is more than the absence of danger, it's the presence of reassurance. It's knowing that you can speak honestly without being judged, that your secrets are protected, that your emotions will be met with empathy rather than criticism. When people feel emotionally safe, their nervous system relaxes, making connection and affection easier. Couples who cultivate this kind of safety can discuss even painful topics, fears, insecurities, mistakes, without falling into defensiveness or blame. In contrast, relationships without safety feel tense and uncertain. Partners walk on eggshells, avoiding honesty for fear of conflict. Over time, this erodes intimacy. Trust is built in small moments, keeping promises, being consistent, showing up when you say you will, remembering what matters to your partner. These small acts form the emotional evidence that you are dependable. Neuroscience supports this idea. Trust releases oxytocin, which enhances empathy and bonding. Conversely, betrayal or inconsistency activates the brain's fear centers, causing withdrawal and emotional distance. Rebuilding trust after it's broken takes time and humility. It requires acknowledging the hurt, taking responsibility, and showing change through action, not words. The healing process is slow, but possible when both partners commit to honesty and patience. One common misconception is that trust means perfection, that once you love someone, you'll never disappoint them. But true trust exists not because partners never fail, but because they repair. Every relationship faces moments of misunderstanding or emotional injury. What defines lasting intimacy is the willingness to rebuild instead of withdraw. Emotional repair strengthens bonds, teaching both people that love can survive imperfection. In fact, research shows that couples who learn to repair conflict effectively often end up with stronger trust than before because each repair reaffirms safety and resilience. Another form of trust essential in intimacy is self-trust. Before you can fully trust another person, you must trust your own instincts, boundaries, and emotional resilience. People who doubt their worth or constantly fear abandonment often seek reassurance in ways that strain the relationship, testing love instead of believing in it. When you trust yourself, you no longer depend on control or constant validation. You allow love to flow more freely, confident that even if pain arises, you can handle it. Self trust turns relationships from dependency into partnership. Psychologically, safety and trust also nurture desire. Esther Perel famously notes that eroticism flourishes not in fear or control, but in security and freedom. When you feel emotionally safe, your body relaxes, your imagination awakens, and desire becomes play, not performance. People sometimes confuse passion with chaos, thinking that love must always be dramatic to feel alive. But long-term passion thrives in calm waters. When trust is strong, partners can explore new sides of themselves without fear of judgment. This freedom to be authentic, to be silly, adventurous, honest, even imperfect, keeps attraction alive. Building a safe space together requires mindful communication. It's about saying, I'm here and I'm listening, instead of reacting defensively. It's about validating your partner's feelings, even when you don't fully understand them. Safety grows when you show your partner that their emotions matter as much as your own. That doesn't mean avoiding conflict. It means approaching it with empathy. Sometimes simply saying, I can see that hurt you, and I care, does more to restore safety than any argument could. In a world full of emotional distractions and superficial connections, genuine trust is rare and precious. It takes years to build, but moments to destroy. Protect it with care. Be honest, even when it's uncomfortable. Be gentle, even when you're frustrated. Remember that love doesn't need perfection, it needs reliability. When partners feel truly safe, they stop hiding parts of themselves, and that openness invites deeper affection. Ultimately, trust and safety form the emotional oxygen of intimacy. They allow the heart to breathe, the body to relax, and the relationship to grow. In their presence, vulnerability becomes strength, and connection becomes effortless. When you know your partner will hold your truth without breaking it, love becomes what it was always meant to be, not a risk, but a refuge. Chapter 7: Keeping the Spark Alive. Desire in Long-Term Relationships. The beginning of love often feels effortless. Everything is new, exciting, and full of mystery. But as time passes, routine slowly replaces novelty, responsibilities crowd out romance, and what once felt spontaneous begins to feel predictable. Many couples fear this change, believing that fading passion means love is dying. In truth, it's not the disappearance of desire that ends relationships, it's the loss of curiosity, attention, and playfulness. Keeping the spark alive isn't about constantly chasing new thrills, it's about nurturing the emotional and psychological conditions that allow passion to grow even after years together. Desire, by nature, thrives on contrast. We crave what feels just out of reach, the excitement of mystery, the tension between closeness and independence. Early in relationships, this balance happens naturally. We don't fully know our partner yet, so curiosity and longing stay alive. Over time, familiarity deepens comfort, but can dull the sense of wonder. The secret to sustaining passion is to maintain both safety and mystery, familiarity and independence. This means allowing each person's space to evolve, to pursue personal goals and individuality. As Esther Perel writes, fire needs air. When partners grow as individuals, they bring a new energy and stories back into the relationship, keeping it vibrant and alive. One of the strongest predictors of lasting desire is emotional connection combined with novelty. Novelty doesn't necessarily mean grand adventures or luxury vacations. It can be as simple as changing routines, trying new activities together, or surprising each other in small, thoughtful ways. The brain releases dopamine, the same chemical associated with early stage attraction, whenever we experience something new. This means that couples who continue to explore together, both emotionally and physically, often feel renewed excitement and closeness. A date night at a new restaurant, a shared hobby, a spontaneous weekend trip, or even cooking together in a different way can reignite playfulness. Another key element is appreciation. Over time, people begin to take their partners for granted, assuming affection is understood without being expressed. But passion thrives on attention. When you notice and verbalize your admiration, "You look beautiful tonight," or "I love the way you handled that situation," you remind your partner that they are still seen and desired. Compliments are not small talk. They are emotional nourishment. Studies show that couples who express appreciation regularly maintain stronger emotional and physical intimacy than those who don't. Gratitude keeps love alive because it shifts focus from what's missing to what's wonderful. Physical affection is equally essential. Regular touch, even outside the bedroom, keeps the connection alive. A kiss before leaving the house, a hand resting on your partner's back, or a long hug after a stressful day releases oxytocin and reminds both partners of their bond. Intimacy doesn't fade because passion disappears. It fades because physical closeness gets replaced by routine disconnection. Touch without agenda, simply for warmth and connection, rekindles comfort and attraction. Maintaining desire also requires emotional playfulness. Humor, teasing, and lighthearted moments prevent love from becoming too heavy. Laughter is one of the most potent aphrodisiacs. It reduces stress and strengthens bonding. Couples who can laugh together about their flaws and challenges are often the ones who stay closest. A relationship that is too serious, too often, loses spontaneity, which is essential to passion. Self-care plays an underrated role, too. When each person takes care of their health, body, and mind, it boosts self-confidence and attractiveness. Desire begins with how you feel about yourself. A partner who continues to grow, learn, and invest in their well-being radiates energy that draws the other in. Love thrives when both people keep becoming the best versions of themselves, not for each other, but alongside each other. Equally important is emotional safety and exploration. Over time, couples may hesitate to express their evolving desires or fantasies for fear of judgment. But open, respectful conversation about what feels exciting or meaningful can deepen connection. When partners feel safe to express their wants, curiosity returns. This openness is not about performance, it's about shared discovery. Another powerful strategy is to recreate the energy of the early days. Think back to how you behaved when you first met, how you listened, how you paid attention, how you planned to impress each other. Revisit those moments. Write love notes, plan small surprises, or share stories from your first months together. Nostalgia activates emotional bonding by reminding the brain of the dopamine-rich experiences that started the relationship. Lastly, remember that keeping the spark alive isn't about chasing constant excitement. It's about maintaining emotional connection through intention. Passion ebbs and flows, just like the tides, but couples who approach it as a shared art form rather than a static feeling keep it alive through creativity and care. When you continue to see your partner as someone fascinating, someone to be discovered again and again, you invite the same energy that sparked the first kiss, the first laugh, the first moment of connection. In long-term love, desire is not lost. It's simply waiting to be rekindled through curiosity, gratitude, and attention. A lasting spark is not an accident of chemistry, but a choice made daily. The choice to keep discovering each other, to keep growing together, and to never stop choosing love after the butterflies have settled into something deeper, warmer, and infinitely more real. Chapter 8. Emotional and Physical Compatibility. Balancing Heart and Chemistry. Attraction begins with chemistry, but relationships endure through emotional harmony. You can feel sparks with someone in a heartbeat, yet long-term intimacy requires more than butterflies. It needs emotional rhythm, understanding, and shared values that let love breathe. Emotional and physical compatibility are like two sides of the same coin. One connects hearts, the other connects bodies, and both feed into a deeper, more stable form of desire. When they align, love feels effortless. When they clash, confusion and distance creep in. Understanding how to balance both dimensions is essential to having a truly fulfilling, intimate life. Physical chemistry is often the first signal of connection. It's the magnetic pull that makes you want to be close, the excitement in your body when you're near someone. This chemistry is driven by biological processes. Hormones like dopamine, oxytocin, and testosterone shape how we experience attraction and bonding. But while physical chemistry can ignite love, it cannot sustain it alone. Studies show that relationships built solely on physical passion often fade when emotional depth is missing. It's the combination of emotional security and physical energy that turns fleeting attraction into enduring passion. Emotional compatibility, on the other hand, is built over time. It's about how you communicate, resolve conflict, express affection, and support each other's growth. It's not about being identical, but about complementing one another's emotional needs. For example, one partner may be more expressive while the other is more reserved. If both can respect that difference and meet halfway, they build emotional trust. Compatibility grows when both people feel safe to be authentic without fear of rejection. That emotional safety becomes the foundation for deeper physical intimacy because desire thrives where trust exists. Many couples mistakenly believe that if passion fades, love has weakened. But in reality, emotional closeness often makes physical attraction more powerful, not less. When you feel emotionally seen and understood, your brain associates that safety with pleasure, creating a loop of trust and desire. That's why the best relationships balance vulnerability with mystery, comfort with curiosity. Emotional intimacy opens the heart, while physical connection keeps it alive with warmth and playfulness. To cultivate this balance, both partners need to communicate openly about what they value emotionally and what they desire physically. Often people avoid such conversations because they fear awkwardness or conflict, yet silence creates distance. A healthy relationship allows space for honest dialogue about feelings, needs, affection, and even insecurities. When you can say, I love when you touch me like this, or I feel closest to you when we talk like this, you build a bridge between the emotional and physical worlds. Each word becomes an act of connection, keeping both sides of intimacy alive. Understanding emotional compatibility also means recognizing how you both process love and stress. People express affection differently through words, touch, acts of service, time, or gifts. Knowing your partner's love language, a concept popularized by Dr. Gary Chapman, can transform how you connect. If one partner craves verbal affirmation while the other values physical closeness, both must learn to meet halfway. Misunderstanding each other's emotional style is one of the biggest causes of distance. The solution isn't to change who you are, but to learn each other's emotional dialects. To say, I love you in the way the other person truly hears it. Physical compatibility, too, deepens through understanding and respect. Every person has a different rhythm of affection, comfort, and preference for closeness. When partners are patient and attentive, they build a natural sync over time. It's not about perfection, but about responsiveness, listening with both body and heart. True physical connection isn't mechanical, it's emotional communication through touch, eye contact, and presence. It's about being fully there, not just physically, but emotionally tuned in. One of the greatest myths is that emotional and physical compatibility happen naturally. In truth, both are skills. They must be cultivated. Couples who continue learning about each other stay in tune even when life changes. Emotional intelligence is just as important as romantic chemistry. It means being aware of your own emotions, managing them wisely, and empathizing with your partner's perspective. The more emotionally intelligent both partners become, the more effortlessly physical connection flows. At the same time, maintaining physical chemistry requires intentional effort. Attraction fades when routine takes over, but it can be reignited when you bring curiosity and care back into your interactions. Compliments, playfulness, and small gestures of affection remind your partner that they are desired. The brain doesn't distinguish much between emotional and physical warmth. Both trigger the release of bonding chemicals. So, a gentle touch, an encouraging word, or a shared laugh all keep the connection alive. Ultimately, the deepest intimacy happens when both emotional and physical energies merge into one continuous expression of love. It's the feeling of being completely seen, body, mind, and soul, without having to hide. That's what we all crave at our core, connection that feels both safe and exciting. Relationships that nurture both sides of compatibility don't rely on luck, they rely on understanding, patience, and a shared commitment to keep discovering each other. When emotional trust and physical chemistry work together, love transforms from something you fall into to something you consciously build. It becomes not just about pleasure, but about partnership, the art of balancing the heart's tenderness with the body's rhythm. And in that balance lies the secret to lasting, meaningful intimacy that grows stronger with time rather than fading away. Chapter 9: Healing Through Intimacy: How Love Restores the Mind and Body. Intimacy is more than pleasure or desire. It is a powerful source of healing. Science and psychology show that deep emotional and physical connection can reduce stress, calm the nervous system, and even improve physical health. When two people are intimately connected, the brain releases oxytocin, endorphins, and other hormones that promote feelings of safety, joy, and well-being. This chemical cocktail reduces cortisol, the stress hormone, and lowers blood pressure, creating a physiological environment in which both partners can thrive. In essence, intimacy acts as a natural restorative medicine, nurturing both the mind and body. Emotional intimacy is especially healing. Feeling seen, heard, and understood allows the brain to release tension accumulated from past experiences or chronic stress. For people who have experienced trauma or chronic stress, supportive relationships can literally retrain the nervous system to feel safe again. Psychologists call this co-regulation, where two people stabilize each other's emotional states. A partner's presence, a gentle touch, or a listening ear can help someone move from anxiety or sadness to calmness and clarity. This restorative effect strengthens not only emotional resilience, but also the capacity for future intimacy. Physical affection is another potent healer. From holding hands to cuddling, touch signals safety and comfort to the body. Studies show that couples who maintain regular, non-sexual physical contact experience stronger immune function, better sleep, and lower rates of depression. Even brief gestures, a hand on the back, a shoulder squeeze, or a kiss on the forehead, activate parasympathetic responses, slowing the heart rate and reducing tension. When emotional safety and physical connection are combined, they create a feedback loop that reinforces both love and health, proving that intimacy is not just a luxury, but a fundamental human need. Healing through intimacy also occurs in the mind. Sharing fears, regrets, or personal struggles with a trusted partner allows for emotional processing and perspective. When one feels supported without judgment, anxiety diminishes and clarity emerges. This is why couples who actively practice vulnerability often report higher well-being, better conflict resolution, and deeper satisfaction in life overall. Emotional expression becomes a form of therapy where love itself is the healer. Intimacy also encourages growth and transformation. When partners support each other's goals, celebrate achievements, and offer constructive feedback with care, it fosters confidence and self esteem. Knowing that someone believes in you and your potential can change the way you see yourself, motivating healthier habits, stronger resilience, and greater life satisfaction. In long-term relationships, this mutual encouragement becomes a foundation for personal evolution as well as relational growth. Forgiveness is another form of healing embedded in intimacy. Mistakes, misunderstandings, and past hurts are inevitable, but when couples can forgive and repair, emotional wounds begin to close. Resentment releases the body from the physical and psychological effects of resentment, which otherwise trigger stress responses and emotional withdrawal. This restorative power is amplified when both partners are engaged in the process, showing empathy and reinforcing trust. In this way, love can literally repair what has been broken, both in the heart and in the mind. Sexual intimacy, when respectful and consensual, also plays a healing role. Beyond pleasure, it reinforces bonding, strengthens emotional trust, and relieves stress. The release of oxytocin and endorphins during intimate moments promotes relaxation and well-being. But perhaps more importantly, sexual intimacy reminds people that they are desired and cherished, reinforcing a sense of worth and connection. This affirmation can counteract feelings of isolation or insecurity, making love a balm for the soul. Healing through intimacy requires intentionality. It's not simply about being together, it's about being fully present, empathetic, and caring, listening without judgment, holding without expectation, and loving without control are practices that turn ordinary relationships into restorative experiences. Couples who approach love in this mindful way often find that intimacy becomes their greatest source of resilience, offering comfort not just in moments of joy, but in times of challenge, grief, and change. In this way, love is not only a pleasure, but a profound life-sustaining force. Chapter 10: The Art of Lifelong Intimacy, Growing Together Through Love. Lifelong intimacy is the culmination of all the elements we have explored: trust, communication, emotional and physical connection, curiosity, and the willingness to grow together. It is not a static state, but an ongoing process, a dance that evolves as individuals and relationships change over time. To maintain intimacy across decades, couples must embrace both continuity and transformation, balancing the comfort of familiarity with the excitement of discovery. This balance is what allows love to remain alive, deep, and meaningful throughout life. The first principle of lifelong intimacy is commitment to growth. People change, priorities shift, and life circumstances evolve. Couples who thrive understand that intimacy requires adaptation. They invest in learning about each other continuously, asking questions, exploring new facets of personality, and celebrating changes rather than resisting them. Growth is not always easy. It requires patience, empathy, and sometimes stepping outside comfort zones. Yet those who embrace it find that transformation strengthens the bond rather than weakening it, creating a relationship that is dynamic and resilient. Mutual respect forms the second pillar. In long-term relationships, it is easy to take one another for granted or slip into patterns of criticism. Respect means valuing your partner's individuality, acknowledging their feelings, and supporting their autonomy. When respect is present, even disagreements become opportunities for understanding rather than conflict. Couples who maintain respect feel safe, appreciated, and empowered, which enhances both emotional and physical intimacy. Playfulness and curiosity are equally essential. While routines provide stability, too much predictability can stifle desire. Lifelong intimacy thrives when partners continue to explore together, try new activities, and surprise one another in small ways. Shared laughter, spontaneous gestures, and playful flirtation act as emotional glue, reinforcing connection and passion. Curiosity keeps the relationship fresh, reminding both partners that they are always discovering someone fascinating even after years together. Communication remains the backbone of lifelong intimacy. Couples who listen actively, express their needs and desires openly, and navigate conflicts with empathy are better equipped to maintain closeness. Over time, patterns of avoidance or misunderstanding can erode connection, so consistent, honest dialogue is critical. Effective communication is not just about solving problems, it is also about celebrating joy, sharing dreams, and reinforcing emotional bonds. Even small check ins, compliments, or moments of affirmation serve to sustain intimacy over the long term. Physical connection continues to play a vital role. Touch, closeness, and sexual expression evolve with time, but remain central to a fulfilling relationship. Couples who prioritize affection through holding hands, hugging, or intimate encounters maintain neurological and emotional bonds that reinforce desire. Physical intimacy is not static, it adapts to life stages, but its essence, presence, attentiveness, and connection remains constant. Trust and safety cultivated over years become the anchor of lifelong intimacy. Knowing that your partner is reliable, honest, and emotionally available allows for vulnerability and deep connection. Trust transforms challenges into opportunities for growth rather than sources of anxiety. It enables both partners to take emotional risks, share dreams, and explore new dimensions of love, secure in the knowledge that their bond is strong enough to withstand change. Gratitude and appreciation are subtle but powerful tools. Couples who acknowledge each other's efforts, express admiration, and celebrate small joys create a positive emotional climate that nurtures desire and satisfaction. Appreciation counteracts complacency and reminds both partners of the value they bring to each other's lives. Even decades into a relationship, a simple "thank you" or "I love how you" can reignite warmth and closeness. Finally, lifelong intimacy is built on shared purpose and meaning. Partners who grow together, support each other's aspirations, and create shared experiences cultivate a deep sense of partnership. This shared journey transforms love from a series of moments into a life narrative, a story of two people evolving together, weathering challenges, celebrating triumphs, and nurturing each other's growth. This sense of shared purpose strengthens emotional, physical, and spiritual bonds, creating a form of intimacy that is profound, enduring, and fulfilling. In essence, the art of lifelong intimacy is the art of presence, care, curiosity, and growth. It is the ability to see your partner fully, cherish them, and choose them again and again, even when life becomes complex or challenging. By combining emotional depth, physical affection, open communication, trust, playfulness, and shared purpose, couples can create a love that does not fade, but transforms into something richer, warmer, and more resilient with time. Lifelong intimacy is not a destination. It is a living, breathing practice, a commitment to journey together through all seasons of life, keeping love alive in heart, mind, and body.